Hey, welcome back to Gemini Wargaming. And today at the club we have Josh here, and we're going to be playing a 2,000 point game of Grand Tournament using 9th edition rules, and we're going to be playing the mission Battle Lines. And I today will be bringing the Craftworlds Aeldari, who are very in vogue right now. I'm joking, they're not really in vogue.
It's not like you don't have more practice than anybody anyway. Anyways, I'll be bringing Space Marines. I'll be bringing my chapter of Soul Drinkers that I play as Doran's other sons, the Black Templars.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think, a really interesting match. I think it's going to be kind of a push and pull across the table, considering how aggressive both our armies can be.
I'll push, you pull.
We'll see.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll see you guys for a more detailed look at our army list.
Alright, we have 2,000 points of Space Marines running my Soul Drinkers chapter as Black Templars today. I have two 10-man squads of Assault Intercessors, both with the Sergeant having the Power Sword. Blade Guard Veteran Squad are Suppressors, two squads of Eradicators, a Vindicare Assassin, Aggressors with the Boltstorm Gauntlet and Frag Launchers. The Infiltrator Squad has the Helix Gauntlet. An 8-man squad of Assault Terminators with the Thunder Hammer and Storm Shield. A Chief Apothecary with Selfless Healer. And then we get to our command over here with the Judiciar, Chaplain Grimaldus, and we also have our Captain from the wonderful Indominus box. Has the Relic Shield. The relic on him is the Crusader's Helm, and he has the Warlord trait Frontline Commander, which gives an extra inch to all advances and charges, which is my hope to get up in John's face as quickly as possible.
Yay. So, this is my 2,000 points of Aeldari. What I have for you today is a battalion led by two Farseers, one on a bike, and he has these 3 runes of battle, as well as this one, these 3 runes of battle. He is my Warlord, has the Fate's Messenger Warlord trait, as well as he also has the Phoenix Gem artifact. My other HQ is Yvrain, and then my last HQ is this 10-man blob of Seer Council, and these are the 4 powers that they have access to. The last one being Smite. It's kind of a little covered over there. For my troops, I have brought 3 squads of these lovely Guardians. Each one is outfitted with a Bright Lance for its support weapon. Then, for my heavy supports, I have brought 2 squads of Dark Reapers, and the Dark Reapers are equipped with the trait Rapid Fire, as well as the X-Arches both having a Tempest Launcher. And then finally, I have a Shadow Weaver who has no upgrades, and 2 Fire Prisms with no upgrades as well. My traits that I had just elected to choose, these are actually WYSIWYGs, so these are actually Singing Spears for these weapons. And the traits that I've gone with are custom chapter traits, including Master Expert Crafters, and the other one is, I believe, Wards, Runes of Warding or something. It's 5 invulnerable save, 5 Female Pain across the entire army, as well as the Expert Crafters being the old Salamander's rule of reroll 1 to hit and 1 to wound roll for each attack. And that's my 2,000 points. Units that I'm trying to work on at this point, I'm hoping that this Seer Council squad will act as a good deterrent, as well as buffing these other 2 squads here. I want him to kind of run at the table, do some psychic shenanigans, and I'm hoping that these 30 Guardians will be enough of a deterrent and have enough support fire from all my support units that will be able to hold the center and drive into multiple flanks at once. So, hoping for overwhelming offensive power, but we're going to not be too overly offensive, because ultimately I'm playing against a close combat army, and I don't want to overextend myself. So we shall see what happens. So today we are doing the Battle Lines Grand Tournament 2020 mission. So it's going to be kind of a Hamel and Anvil type setup. It's going to be 1-2 or 1-2 for the first 5 and 10 points respectively. The last 5 being control more than your opponent for the take and hold objectives, as well as a secondary of Vital Ground, which I believe has something to do about controlling objectives in your opponent's deployment zone as well as your own. Oh, actually, it's just the objectives and not your deployment zone. That's what it is. The secondaries we've chosen to go with are, for me, I've chosen to go with Vital Ground, the mission secondary, Assassinate, and Engage in all fronts. Josh has elected to go for Grind Them Down, Raise the Banner, and Engage in all fronts as well. So it looks like we're going to be fighting over ground at this point, quite literally. So we'll catch you in the deployment phase.
The other situation.
You know, I agree with you on that one. Let's see what happens. Let's roll the dice.
Really? A 1?
There's a 4. There's a 1.
Well, it looks like it doesn't matter what I want, because I'm going to have to deal with what you choose.
Hey, look, it's a cat. So it looks like Soul Drinkers get to choose deployment zone not.
Did you have to word it? Really? Wow, the way to lead them not there.
I don't know.
What side are you going to go with, John?
I don't know. Both sides of the table seem really appealing. But I do like that giant building. I feel like it's going to be really key to not getting shot off the table turn 1.
I mean, flip side, though, it really is only 5 inches up to that second level there.
Right, but I could potentially camp up here and utilize that shooting. Plus, it's going to be really easy to hide behind this wall and try to hold on to the objective late long game. I think it's going to be a little easier than trouncing through here. And I think you might not be able to use these crates as well to your advantage. So that's going to be kind
What
of
are you talking about? I got nothing but infantry. I can hide behind those all.
Oh, I'm not saying you can't hide behind them. I'm just saying that I think that you won't concentrate your forces over here, considering that there's a lot of open ground between them.
That sounds like design error, John.
I don't know.
That's okay. I've got a mobile piece of terrain here in the form of cat. I'll just, put food over on that side when it's my turn.
I suppose the Biotitan has been called. But, so we've rolled for deployment, and we're going to see you after sides have been deployed. So, see you then. Let's roll! Deployment has been completed.
We need a safe rolling spot. What's the safe rolling spot? I know, John's head!
Well, we also have a dice tray, so...
Do we? Are we using my dice tray?
We could use our own, like we did last time.
I mean, for now, it fits off to the side. That works. I mean, you could. There is a side over here. You can see, John. Come on, you can do it.
So, those are the battle lines drawn. Let us roll.
That's cute. You had to use the mission name in it, John.
I just. It's branding.
It's branding. Right. We're gonna use your branding.
Ready?
Yep. 3,
Roll it up.
2,
1.
5.
That's you, first turn.
One time I didn't actually really want it, but okay!
I think that's been the last 3 times.
It really seems to be my bad luck. When I don't want it, I get it. When I get it, I don't want it.
Alright, that is turn number 1. We will see you after, we'll see you after movement of turn 1. Soul Drinkers, top of round 1. So that is the conclusion of Soul Drinker movement. Most of his forces have simply just moved at the table, raising some banners. They have popped the strat Uncompromising Fire, which allows them to shoot and continue to raise the banner without failing the action. But for the most part, he's just preparing his army. This kind of blob is just pretty much advanced over here, so probably won't be any charges coming from them. But they're just going to prepare themselves for turn 2 if they can weather all the shooting. And for pretty much that, that's the army just kind of moving up, preparing for either the assault or to react for a potential charge. So that is turn 1 movement. So let us see after shooting phase. So we actually skipped the shooting phase, went straight to the assault as well. But shooting basically just did a couple damages over there to the heavy weapons platform, and it managed to kill 1 guy over here. So we're not gonna roll for morale because that's guaranteed to be successful. Other than that, we had a devout push during assault phase, so the shooting has been pushed further up the table. But yeah, shooting phase was unimpressive, but we weren't really expecting a lot of shooting to be pretty phenomenal at this point. But
what happens when you've got a melee army that goes first in long ways against the map?
yeah, this was a rather unfortunate deployment type. But we will see you after Aeldari Craftworlds turn 1, the movement.
You know, modify fucking Oodles, Dave. Stupid.
So we just finished Aeldari movement and psychic phase. Movement was pretty uneventful. We just moved some units into position, as well as the fire prison. So Aeldari movement and psychic phase have just completed. The most eventful part being the psychic phase. Movement was pretty much just positioning a couple of units around the board. These 4 psychic squads managed to pile up in this area and managed to cast a load of psychic powers. Managed to Doom and Jinx, that's the Terminator squad, which means they're getting -1 to their saves, as well as I'm getting reroll to wounds from any unit that shoots them to my next psychic phase. Also, I managed to give them a negative to wound also until my next psychic phase in close combat, which is going to be prevalent, I think. Instead of 2s, it's going to be 3s. Over here, we managed to cast a couple powers. Guide failed, unfortunately, but we did manage to get off a smite, was it?
I think so.
I believe it was a smite. It was a lot of powers cast. It was either smite or something else. I think it was probably a smite. We also managed to cast a smite over here, and they managed to do a lot of damage because their smite is a d6, because they are a 10-man blob, and it exploded and hurt this squad quite a bit with that, as well as getting us a couple smites over here and Gazy and Need off, and also managed to use Yvrain to heal some wounds as well. Nice thing of the Ward of the Phoenix. So yeah, that is Aeldari psychic phase, and now Biotitan has entered the fray. We are going to move directly to shooting phase, so we'll see you very soon. So we just concluded Aeldari shooting phase. Elder managed to do some serious damage to that Intercessor squad of 10-man blob, wiped out the suppressors backfield, and did a lot of damage to those Terminators, knocking them down to 4, so half their size. And just, in general, managed to just kind of lay some damage on the table. So, moving to Aeldari Assault Phase, I think we might actually have a couple charges here. Definitely not over there. Don't really fancy that charge. But potentially with the Farseer.
That's a long charge, John.
It is a long charge. He's fighty. There's potential there. The Seer Council is not terrible in close combat, so there's some potential there. But it's a thing. Either way, I don't think there's a reason not to try to make some charges here.
Yeah.
But we'll see you at the end of Aeldari turn. I guess the beginning of Soul Drinker's turn.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the worst morale we've seen on camera with Tyranids. I mean, not Tyranids, Terminators. 3 Terminators ran away over there. That sucked. And we lost 2 guys ran over here, so that was actually a lot more crippling than I was anticipating, but holy hell, you can roll 6s.
Not happy about it.
Oh, God.
Not a good thing, John.
I can't anticipate you would be happy about that.
Oh my God, that was terrible.
That was rough, bro. That was rough. Well, I failed my charges, so nothing happened over there. But man, it's gonna be interesting. Turn 2 for Soul Drinkers. So we'll see you guys after Soul Drinkers movement. Yup, Iron Hand to the blame for everything. But yeah, so Soul Drinkers movement.
Oh, yeah, right.
Soul Drinkers have been moving across the table. End of movement, we have elected to raise a banner over here, as well as resuscitate another Terminator, bringing them back up to 2. And basically, we're just moving the squads up here. We had a couple advances, mostly from the captain, I believe, and was the Assault Intercessors that also advanced?
The Assault Intercessors just moved.
They moved normally? Okay. Did the Aggressors just advance? Or?
Nope, they moved normally. The only thing that advanced was the captain.
Okay. Gotcha. Oh, and the Eradicators back here.
Eradicators, yeah. Because I'm trying to rush them back over to get cover.
Exactly, and seize that objective, which is going to be prevalent. So, yeah. So the Soul Drinker's trying to move the table, trying to conquer my right flank here. I have abandoned it somewhat, so I'm trying to screen a little bit, try to protect a little bit, but we're going to take a lot of shooting here and a lot of close combat, so it's going to be interesting to see how much I can endure and weather. So, we will see you.
I'm hoping to hit back hard.
I feel confident that it's going to hurt.
Yeah.
It's gonna hurt. It's gonna sting. Need some ointment for that. So we'll see you at the end of shooting phase for Soul Drinkers.
Or do you want to record? Yep.
So this was Aeldari shooting phase.
Soul Drinker shooting phase.
Soul Drinker shooting phase, my apologies. Yvraine managed to take 4 damage over here, but she's still kicking. Lost a couple Guardians over there, as well as the support platform. And lost 2 Warlocks over here. And the support platform did go down over here. So for the most part, Eldar forces appear to be intact, but we are about to get to charging phase, which is the real crux of the issue. So we will catch you after that. So we are finished with the assault phase, and it has been quite devastating. Farseer went down here, so did Yvraine. That Farseer died, rezzed from the Phoenix Gem, did some mortals, and that Seer Council squad lost 8 members. So it's been pretty harsh around the board. But we'll see what happens after Eldar movement. Can we surge and bring back a fight here? I think there's some possibility. We do some fallbacks, do some consolidation of firepower, try to bring down some of these numbers. I think we have some options. We can drive back the rest of them. But we'll have to see. So more to come. Glimmer of hope yet remains. Aeldari Turn managed to do some damage in the shooting. However, there are still quite a few threats left on the table. Hopefully our tanks can hold back over here long enough. But yeah, we were able to snipe 3 characters off the board, which was kind of a big deal. Killed Apothecary, Romaldus over there, and the Captain in the center. Managed to do another damage over there to the
Terminator.
Lost
Took out one.
Killed one of those and injured one of those of the infiltrators trying to push off the objective, but not enough. And then over here, managed to wound a single wound onto Mr. Big and Scary.
No, you managed to. Well, yeah, since the shooting phase.
Right, I killed 2 in the shooting phase.
Yeah.
And then we did hurt some guys over here, but not enough to dramatically turn that event. So we're going to be relying on our firepower and our shooty bits to get us through this. So it's going to be well. Next turn is going to either call it or give us an opportunity to get back in this game. So we will see you after Soul Drinkers. He's boxing out, guys. He's boxing out. Movement consisted of, well, models moving.
No way!
Mostly over here, a little over here, and a tad bit. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Tad bit over here. There was like a 1 model that moved over here. So yeah, he's trying to box me out, trying to keep that area, and trying to move into my tanks, which I don't appreciate. They were expensive.
I'm okay with that.
You know, I'm still paying them off. You have any idea what that's going to do to my credit?
Don't care. You're going to be paying off the student loans you took out on those tanks for years.
Let's see what it is.
Yes, right.
All right, so that is movement. So we will see you at the end of psychic.
Movement. Yeah, my psychic phase.
So we'll see you at the end of shooting. Yeah. So we have some peppering shots, some pistols going up here. Managed to kill off a couple of the Dark Reapers up top. And then we hit a Vindicare shot that missed horribly. And that was pretty much shooting. Oh, we had a couple spots over here.
They took out some of that.
Yeah, they contributed to the death of a couple of those guys. So there was some deaths, but overall, pretty uneventful shooting.
My army is not a shooting army. That's fine.
Yep. So
I just make it hurt.
So to the make them dead phase we go?
To the make them dead phase.
Aha.
And to make John angry phase.
All right. See you guys when we are finished with the mayhem.
This is gonna get really interesting really quick.
I guess we missed my turn, but but we did play the turn. So basically, we managed to actually do a tremendous amount of damage in shooting phase, which I managed to edge out by killing the squad there, wounding the squad there, wiping out that last intercessor right there, wounding that squad, hurting the Vindicare back there, killing the Terminator over here, and positioning ourselves in close combat with him. So right now we're actually in a position where we actually did enough damage shooting that we might actually be able to get back into this. However, points-wise, we were trailing tremendously, so the only way we're getting back into this game is if we were able to actually wipe you off the table, I'm pretty certain, because I don't think points-wise I can get back into the game otherwise. Because I'm sitting at a very lowly 5 primary, and you were at 45 primary. So that's my option, basically, is I have to shoot you off the table, which is not impossible, but it's going to be a little bit of a tough task, considering there are still quite a few things in your back area. But your frontal assault is basically ground to a halt, so we will see what happens here in Soul Drinkers turn 1, or turn 4, top turn 4.
Yo.
Black Templar movement is completed. Basically fell back over here, moved into that building, ran the Vindicator Assassin down 2 levels to get him out of line of sight, and that was it. So we will see you at the end of shooting, I suppose. So that was shooting phase, and yeah, so damage was dealt here by pistols, and
that's about it.
That was about it. So yeah, that was shooting phase. Assault phase, I suppose.
There's no charges to be made, but
so
I mean, fight phase.
Just gonna roll there?
Yep, just roll there.
Alright, so I guess I go first. So I'm still in first tier. Hit on 6s. Crafters, damn it. That's 1 hit. Wound on 3s, because we're 26. That is a wound. Roll me a save, good sir. Hey, I get 1! I will take it. And then it's for your opportunity to hit back.
Yep. Got the sergeant. Two guys? Okay.
Yep. Hit on 3s, wound on 4s.
Wound on 5s.
Wound on 5s, right. Whoa, brain.
I'll take the 4s. It's not really fair to you. Nothing.
Nothing? Oh,
Nothing.
jeez. Okay.
I mean,
Cool.
that's what they do.
No need for morale over there, so that is Soldier's turn 4. Go to the bottom of turn 4, Aeldari.
I get my
Engage
raise
no
the
friends.
banners.
We already did raise the banners. I already
For
did
this turn?
I did, yes.
Okay.
Engage no friends, though. You do get engage no friends, and you are still within 4 table quarters, so that is still 3 points. So, Aeldari, turn 4. So, Aeldari turn was just wrapped up. Managed to wipe the last blade guard there with the Farseer, and we also managed to kill one with a smite. We also managed to get some shots off here and wipe the squad up there, so the Eradicators are all finished up there. And then got some more shots off from our missiles, and managed to also kill the squad engagement range with that Shadow Weaver. That damage to being a real house at this moment. So there are 3 units up on the table. I'm pretty certain the only way I can win this game is through tabling, so that is what we have to do. We have 1 more turn to complete it, because we're about to start turn 5 with Soul Drinkers. Soul Drinkers' turn was very brief, basically moving his units as far out of range of my shooting and out of line of sight as possible, moving his Vindicator behind the building over there, keeping his Eradicators in place there, safely behind the building, and then trying to run those as quickly as far as possible. So this game has come down to the last turn of shooting. Can I wipe him off the table?
It's gonna be close.
It's gonna be a fight and a half, let's put it that way. So
it's not gonna be easy for you.
It's not. So we will see you at the end of Aeldari turn, because it's gonna go quick.
Because of time.
Alright, so the game is over. Aeldari do lose, but it was incredibly close. Exactly one unit left on the table with 2 models, the Eradicators. But that is it. All the banners were ripped down. All the objectives were taken by the Aeldari. So I score 15 for that, so I go up to 20. So I do get a little bit more points. But, because I scored at the end of turn.
Yeah.
Turn 2. But, at the end of the day, it is still a hell of a match. Let me just calculate it quick, because I'm curious what our points are at. After all that comes together. So I have 35, 45, 52, 55. Yeah. 55 and 60, 76, 80, 85, 88. So 88 to 55. Nice.
It's all about playing the fucking objectives, man. I didn't have the ability to table them, but you gotta play your points. You gotta play the mission.
Yeah, those tanks almost single-handedly got me back into the game. It was a close one, just because of all that firepower and the indirect firepower. I definitely made a mistake killing off Max Arch. Having the ability indirect fire would have been quintessential there.
Yeah, it would have made the difference.
But the Farseer almost got it back there. He got that Psychic Smite, killed the assassin back there, brought me to max with my Assassinate, ironically.
Yep.
And was able to just push to those objectives, but unfortunately not able to get a draw a beat on these guys because they were just too far back from that terrain piece. So I could not see through the bottom floor, and I couldn't get a good angle on them. Unfortunately, that would have been the deciding point. I thought there was a risky thing, but I could potentially get there through here. But it would have been, a heck of a charge. Ultimately, the damage, when I rolled for damage, I didn't get enough damage with the Singing Spear, so that kind of niched it. But at the same time, it was still an incredibly close battle. So fight was real. Fight was real. Whew. So thoughts, Aeldari. This is the first time you ever played against like a full Psyker Aeldari list.
Not entirely, because you brought Eldred against me.
Right, but I've never brought like.
No.
I never brought like 2 Farseers, Yvrain, and a 10-man Seer Council squad.
I'd like to see how this battle would have played out if you had to go first instead of me going. That would have really changed up the mechanics of it.
I think maybe one more turn of shooting might have been interesting. Because I definitely had line of sight on most of your units.
Yeah. No, it was definitely interesting.
Mm-hmm. It was definitely really awkward that first turn where you had to foot slog through all that fire.
But I definitely made you hurt that next turn.
You definitely did. You pushed me really hard in the center, and that was what I was worried about, was that I was going to get pushed back really hard. And after that, I had to sit back and think and just figure out how I was going to reclaim that position. And I realized that the only thing I could really do was fall back, consolidate, and just put as many shots as possible into your threats and take them down one at a time, which ultimately worked. But I just couldn't finish off the last squad. That was the thing that got me. A lot of lucky rolls managed to put me back into the game. But
yes, overall great game.
Definitely a hell of a fight. I'm still a little niffed that I don't get any AP value on any of my weapons, my Farseers, or my Conclave. I mean, the D3 damage is nice, but just 1 or 2.
A little bit of AP would be nice too.
Oh, I think that would have made all the difference if I had 1 or 2. Maybe that will be in the new codex whenever it comes out. But
Or maybe they just go to straight damage 3 instead of D3.
I can see it 2. I can see it being 2. I can see them to do like a fist. Probably like a theory. I don't know. You guys think fist?
I mean, yeah. Maybe.
Thing
is the sheer amount of psychic powers and shenanigans they get, though, is part of their profile, too. Mm-hmm. So you gotta balance that out. If you make them terrible in melee and tons of psychic shenanigans, their damage output goes kind of through the roof, and we don't want Smash Captains back in the form of Farseers.
Right. But like even AP 1 or 2, I think would make them just good enough to be more viable. Not to trying to say that Farseers aren't viable, because I do feel like they're one of the few things that Eldar still have that are really good right now is our psychic shenanigans. But it definitely was quintessential when I was trying to hit you back in close combat, and I kind of hit to break through a 3-up save. Yep. That would have been really nice to actually have the Conclave to actually do some to do some jinx or protect to increase my invul or decrease your saves, which would have been really, really important. Actually, that might have been a mistake I made in turn 1. Actually, if I've been thinking about that during the game, but maybe perhaps using protect on myself instead of jinx on you and reducing your invulnerable save might have been more advantageous for myself.
I mean, it was quintessential for you keeping my Terminators out of the game, though. If you didn't do that, the Terminators would have came in and destroyed those tanks.
I mean, I agree with you on that one, but at the same time, you also, I don't
think you made a bad decision. I just don't think it played out as well as it could have for you.
Right. No, I mean, the only thing I was trying to say is that would a 3-up invulnerable have been more useful in that situation than you getting a 5-up invulnerable essentially with your Terminators? Like removing your Storm Shield.
I get it. But the other thing that comes down to is, again, you wouldn't have been able to lose as many of my Terminators. And so it might have bought your Seer Council an extra turn, but your Vrain would have still died. Mm-hmm. Your other Farseer would have still died.
Yeah.
Along with the one on bike dying the first time. Mm-hmm. So they would have all died, and then the Terminators would have still been there, trudging forward, and you wouldn't have gotten as many hero kills because they would have body blocked everything.
Yeah.
So I think you made the right decision in going for them. as hard as you did, because that took a lot of my counter punch, because they would have just kept driving all the way straight to the tanks.
Well, and I know historically you tend to rely on your Terminators to be like the crux of your spear tip. So I knew that was one of the units I had to nerf as soon as possible. And once you put them in range and started moving to the table, that actually gave me a lot of hope, because I knew I could just take that unit out turn 1.
Combat squatting those assault intercessors though was, I think, key in this, because it allowed me to hit you from more points with intercessors.
Well, and also just the one squad you ended up combat squatting, not even both. Like, I think one was just fine enough. It ended up giving you enough tactical flexibility to hold on to some objectives. Maybe I should have been more aggressive with my tanks, because they can move, and realistically speaking, I'm not too scared about being locked in close combat with you, just because they have decent armor, and they have firepower in close combat, so I'm not, like, without any kind of shooting.
No, and you saw, my assault intercessors versus your tank in melee do nothing.
Yeah, that Shadow Weaver was actually, like, MVP in a lot of ways.
I mean, if I'd have thrown a Thunder Hammer on the Sergeant, it might have been a different story, but against just chain swords, it's just not going to get the damage in.
Yeah, and that toughness 7 was that was huge. But it was definitely I think probably our best game to date of all the games we played. This is definitely our most intense and closest game, obviously, since this is the first actual win you've gotten against the Eldar.
But yeah, against you, period. But every game, I feel like I've gotten better and better and better until I finally got there.
I think it was a I don't want to say dream in the making. It was a battle in the making, a fight in the making. So definitely one for the ages. So yeah, thanks for the games, man. Really appreciate you coming down and playing. And yeah, that is it for this battle report. Yeah. So this is all of us here. If you like, please like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment about kind of how you think we did. If you do think we did terribly,
Like, subscribe, obey.
Do the YouTube stuff. But anyways, this is Gemini Wargaming signing out. Thank you all for coming.